If all you have is cash, you can't live in the digital economy. The way to have your ear to the ground is to be present where innovation is occurring.
So evaluating and understanding the risk of your partners as well, that not every bank is the same. Everybody is regulated differently. So hi everyone, I'm very excited to be here with Michelle because she's got a lot of experience, and I think it's very important to share her wisdom with you at the Schultes Institute. And I'm very happy about this collaboration, bringing a more ethical and transparent industry in payments and banking. So I'm very excited for the upcoming course that we are having with Michelle as well. And today, I'm asking a lot of different questions from her about her journey. How did she start? Where did she start? And how did she end up in payments? So thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited for this conversation. If you can just share a bit more about your journey, how did you end up in payments, and all that experience that you bring to us with the course.
Yeah, such a pleasure, Viktoria. I'm so happy to be here in Barbados as the first time we meet, and I'm very excited for the collaboration and your institute and what it stands for, and to have our masterclass as part of this infrastructure. Exactly. To tell you a little bit about myself, I actually started my career 20 years ago in the corporate space. I did 6 years in telco, 8 years in online shopping, affiliate marketing, ran Alaska, Lufthansa, Delta United online shopping mall platforms. Love the innovation that loyalty aspect could really truly drive for consumers in online shopping. And then I fell into payments. I actually got called by a recruiter, asked to come work for a company called Income, never heard of it, and realized that they were actually the gift card towers that live at Walmart worldwide, 7-Eleven worldwide. And those are the cards that you pick up and then allows you to get an Uber. If all you have is cash, you can't live in the digital economy. So I realized that prepaid was enabling the future of finance in many different ways. The backing to challenger bank infrastructure, it's helping buy now, pay later, last mile payment infrastructure. And I learned so much about the industry and payments and what it was enabling. I ended up launching WeChat in North America at its first ever test pilot at 7-Eleven. Nice. And I realized how far on that technology was in comparison to what was happening in North America. Got quite nervous that maybe we were a little bit Kodak in the sense of technologies happening within North America versus what was happening in Asia and in Europe. And then I took a leap of faith. I went to an Ivy program focused on blockchain, digital identity, and FinTech in 2017 and went, oh, this is the future of finance. Right. I was very excited about the different things that FinTechs were enabling around the world. And I took my first leap of faith into this space by working at a blockchain company as a chief client officer focused on digital identity, consent on blockchain for GDPR compliance. Wow. Knew nothing about blockchain, dove deep, ended up on stages trying to simplify what is blockchain, what is digital identity, and why does it matter. And I really felt that I had the superpower of simplifying the complex so that people could actually start utilizing it or finding ways to innovate their companies to the future of finance. And then I won Money 2020 Rise Up, where they picked 30 women out of 500 in their second year in 2019. And what I found out, and I'd been going to Money 2020 for years, I knew it was some pretty good PR. So I actually quit the startup and started my own company 24 hours later called Finavator, as I realized everything I've touched in my career touches the future of finance, from being in telco and then being in affiliate marketing, prepaid, payments, infrastructure, blockchain, digital identity. And if I could create a company where I could go and use my skills to help multiple organizations get to the future of finance, from banks, credit unions, fintechs, corporations, and now individuals with this masterclass, I feel that's my mission, is to try and make the complex simple so that we could all touch the future of finance.
It's interesting that there is such a diverse background, but leads towards the same goal at the end of the day, is the future of finance. And you mentioned a lot of different areas, for example, the blockchain and the digitalization digitalization, and it just never stops. So this industry seems like that. It never sleeps, it never stops, but you need to understand where it leads and where it goes to be able to be a part of the change. So tell me a bit more about your course. So what is the course about, and how does it help to people who are on a daily basis working with payments or banking or making any kind of decisions on how money moves and how banks think?
Yeah, I created the course largely because I've been working at Finavator, running this organization, helping multiple companies for over 5 years. And what I've noticed is the people that are touching and at multiple conferences understand the terminologies. But when we go to build a project, the people on their team haven't been as exposed and therefore are a little bit more nervous or don't fully understand all these different terminologies and what they can enable. I was actually trying to train my staff on what is prepaid. So I had a new IB student and she was asking me what is prepaid. And I was like, you know what, let's do an Ask Me Anything Monday. And I'll teach you about prepaid. And then next Monday, I'll teach you about BaaS. And then next Monday, I'll teach you about embedded finance. And she had an IB degree, but these are terminologies and infrastructures that she wasn't aware of. So we started that simply, and then over 9 months, we turned it into a full masterclass.
Wow.
Because I realized not many people understand the nuances of not only those terminologies, but open data, digital identity, cybersecurity, Web3, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, not just and how that could be a CBDC or how that could be crypto when you're looking at digital currencies, and then blockchain. And this is a lot to take in.
Yes.
So we tried to make it simplistic with a 20-minute video from myself explaining it, what it's touching, what are some brands or companies you might be using today that are using these technologies, and then an expert interview for 20 minutes with someone from around the world at companies you very much have heard of. And then we go into having a presentation deck that you could run through to learn more. There's added articles if you want to dig deeper, and then there's a cheat sheet to help you kind of study, and then there's 10 questions, and once you get 7 out of 10, they will unlock the next session for you.
Amazing. How do you stay relevant? How do you keep up to date with all of these changes today?
I'm at a lot of conferences. So I think, like yourself, the way to have your ear to the ground is to be present where innovation is occurring. So today we're in FinTech Island in Barbados. I was just in New York at a cybersecurity conference. I'm about to hit Miami for a payments innovation conference, and then many more. So I'm probably at 15 to 20 conferences a year, and in different industries. So really hearing what's happening, what's the innovation, who are the new FinTech and SureTech, and how is that driving change for consumers?
Yes, exactly, because there are a lot of conversation which is happening over the coffee machine or the water dispenser, and you hear the industry gossips and you hear what's new and what works and what doesn't. And I think the most important thing is that you are working with all those companies who have the issue, you resolve those issues, and you give them a real life solution, not just an overall framework which one size fits all. So who are your clients in your everyday work with your company? What kind of solutions that you bring? What are the problems that you resolve?
Yeah, I'm a prepaid expert first, and I realize that prepaid's touching so many different aspects of the payment industry. So at Finavator, we've helped 5 challenger banks kick off across North America as the SME, like the subject matter expert. So trying to come in and help them guide down this path of who should be their backer, BIN sponsor bank, who should they work with from a network perspective, what should the product look like, how can they improve what's currently in the market, as well as who should they partner to scale this challenger bank infrastructure, and how can they layer in rewards and loyalty and other fintechs that will kind of excel them to have cross-border solutions, and creating kind of this Lego aspect of how do you build the future of finance through small partnerships. And that could either be at a challenger bank, but we're also helping credit unions find that first point of innovation where they don't have to build it themselves, but they could find a reputable partner through a fintech, an insured, a wealth tech organization that can touch that customer aspect that they haven't yet kind of grown into by simply connecting an API and partnering with an organization to kind of scale and drive better solutions to their current customer base.
Yeah, we are also advocating that since payments and banking affect every areas of your organization, you should start with the possibilities first around handling your cash flow, where the money comes from, how much, how often, who is holding it for you, what's the risk, what's the customer experience that the customer goes through, what are the different fees, terms and conditions with those providers, and build your operation around that once you have it, not the other way around. Because unfortunately, even today, a lot of companies are building the product or the service, doing the technology around it, setting up the group, the companies, the tax optimization, and then try to find a payment and banking provider to work with the existing operation, not the other way around. So we see a massive shift in the industry towards plan your payments and banking first. Let's get the basics right and then put the operation around it. Do you also use this kind of approach? And if yes, how does it affect companies? Do you see that companies start to change toward this new attitude of doing business, or there are still a lot of companies who are stuck in the past and they think that one payment provider, one bank, one solution provider is just the same as the other?
I think a lot of people, there's been some challenges and some shakeup within the market space, especially in the fintech, from vast backer banks changing their risk appetites. So wanting to have multiple opportunities, having two banks that you work with so that you always have this kind of secondary option set. Yeah. I think thinking long term and ensuring that there's multiple partnerships, there's ways to grow left or right. Some companies are still, they want less partners, right? And I think that's a strategy as well. But I think in this space, as we continue to grow, it's about finding one or two partners that you trust, building rapport and growing with them, but also looking at where can you save. There's so many new ways to save on processing. There's open banking that's coming down the pipe, which will reduce some costs and create some authenticity of the connection of this person who's paying and the company, and it could help reduce some costs of taking in money. It could add some data that you didn't have. They can help you personalize to this customer. I think we're at the precipice of this move towards open finance that could unlock new doors, new revenues, better Amazon-like customer experience that can help kind of deepen your relationships. But you have to be open, and I think you have to speak to experts within the space or attempt to go to at least 5 conferences a year so that you can hear it yourself as a business owner, what's happening, feel more comfortable with it, and then take some risk is how you have reward. So keep it too simplistic might not let you have that door to innovation.
I agree. And education is definitely the key, because when I see with my clients is that there is a goodwill, but unfortunately a massive lack of education. People who are making decisions over payments and banking in a company are just not adequately trained to do so. And there is so much information is missing on the market. So I think it's fantastic that you created a course from that angle and that aspect, what you feel is more important. And more professionals are speaking up and try to educate the industry of there are ways of doing things right and scalable, and plan your banking and payment strategy. So what's the future of finance? What do you think? Of course, education is important, but what's your next step? What's the future of finance? Where are we all going towards?
Yeah, I think you're right about education, because when you understand something, you feel comfortable taking that risk.
That's right.
So when it becomes a little bit more simplistic and you start understanding what embedded finance is, for example, and how your Starbucks wallet is actually an embedded payments infrastructure, and they are kind of a bank in the sense that they're holding your coffee for the future.
Yeah.
There's different ways that you could realize, oh, that's embedded finance. Yes. Can we create a wallet? Do our customers have enough want and will to pre-purchase and hold their transactions on record, and what does that mean for us? So I think there's just all of these questions that could come out when someone's taken some of your courses or our masterclass, and gives them that kind of innovation lens. And then when I think of the future of finance, I think it's about transparency, about consent-driven data, not just across banking and wealth and insurance, so that I could have decisions that are more informed, because when there's open banking, open finance, I get to consent where my data goes, and therefore I can have my data go to this provider that is a fintech that can allow the secure transfer of my data and then can actually offer me the product that best suits me. And I think that there's not a lot of time in an everyday life. We have our families, we have our work, we have our travel, we have our wants and our wills and what we want to accomplish. We don't have a lot of time to sit down and figure out what insurance plan is going to be best for me, or what wealth plan can I invest $100 every 2 weeks and see how that can grow my wealth. But there's going to be these assistants through open data, open finance, and eventually open infrastructure, open ecosystem that can allow me throughout my entire consumer life to have the freedom to move my data to trusted parties, but also delete it when I'm no longer needing that partner, and know that I have less of a data record living out in the world.
Exactly. And you're touching on a lot of important points that companies need to turn into somewhat kind of financial companies, or at least have the financial understanding that what are the opportunities in holding the customer's value. For example, as you mentioned with the Starbucks, the coffee, it's not fiat currency per se, but you have a value which is holding on behalf of your clients. So you think in the future all the companies become some kind of fintech companies as well, and have some way of holding or transferring value within their own ecosystem on behalf of the clients.
I think most organizations will touch some type of fintech partnership. I don't think they have to actually fully understand the stack and build it themselves, because I think that will take them a lot of time and a lot of money. But finding the right partner that you trust, that is already working with companies that you trust, to figure out how there's one use case, one micro use case that you can work with them on, and see how you can expand that over time and find other partnerships similar to that. And I think that's how banks will evolve and innovate. It will be less of them building themselves and more of them finding those strategic partnerships through fintechs. And I think even fintechs working with other fintechs to broaden their visibility of what they're offering to a consumer is also going to grow.
So the future is bright for us consumers. It's going to be easier and safer and more transparent than ever. So it's definitely a good one.
This is hope. This is the hope. I think a lot of what we heard today at this conference as well is having that compliance lens. So even if you're going to partner with a fintech, understanding compliance, bringing in a fractional compliance officer if you've never touched anything to do with the financial ecosystem, having a risk officer, even if they're just fractional, understanding what are the regulatory challenges in different markets that you're going into, so you're prepared, because it is very much a regulated service. So you can't just jump into it. You have to have a vision. What do you want to create? And then understand what the risks are and figure out what the product you want to offer based on those risks.
That's completely right. Evaluating and understanding the risk of your partners as well. Because as we said, that not every bank is the same. Everybody is regulated differently. So whoever is handling your funds in one country might be handling completely in a different way in another country, right? So that's also going back to the education, that you can only make good and relevant decisions if you really understand how these banks work, how these banks think, to be able to assess the risk which is posing on your assets with them, right?
100%.
So great. Thank you very much. I think we touched on a lot of points, and you will see the trailer for the Future of Finance Master Course as well. Is there something that we need to discuss we haven't mentioned yet?
Take the time to keep learning. Whether it be with my course, whether it be with Victoria's course, I think we will all get to the innovation of the future of finance faster if we all take a little time to continue and learn deeper about different topics that we might not be using just yet, like Web3, but understanding what it is and what it could enable in the future can help you decide what you're building today, or understanding what open data is and what digital identity is can truly help you build the right product for your consumers. So I hope to see you in the masterclass, and thank you so much for this time, Victoria, and for hosting us.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited for that. And if anyone has any questions or comments, then feel free to reach out to us, because we are very, very happy to hear your perspective and your issues, because that's how we can create a transparent and ethical industry together. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And please note that you have a discount on behalf of being on your platform. I hope to see you in the course.
Exactly. Looking forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you.